Hi everyone, it's Margaret, and today we are going to be kicking off my 2022 series of monthly wardrobe roundups. And I didn't want this to become like a haul where I'm just listing off everything that I bought or sold or donated this month. So I wanted to make this more of like a reflection sort of video. So not so much like just me like trying on things and showing you, but taking time to really identify what have I been interested in this month, like aesthetically or just in terms of lifestyle and activities, and whether or not I feel like the stuff that I have bought or gotten rid of or just what I've been wearing has reflected that. And I got this idea from Adina's blog. She's been doing this series called I think it's the Me of Now or the You of Now, where she's been listing off just like 4 or 5 things that are kind of at the front of her mind. And I was really inspired by that because it was just so much more interesting to me as a way to tie in how style and aesthetics has been interacting with like everything else rattling around in your brain, and just, you know, checking in and seeing whether that's all consistent, because, you know, we gotta get dressed anyway, but it might as well be in a way that's helping us be the type of person that we want to be. So for January, definitely the thing that I've been most into has been hiking, which is something that I've really let kind of go into the background, because I used to go camping a lot with my family when I was a kid, but just in recent years, because again, like I haven't had a car like since I went out to college, and that's made it a lot harder to get to trailheads. But my partner and I have kind of done our New Year's resolution this year to go out at least once a week and just do a short day hike in one of the local regional parks. And this is the first time that I've actually done anything really outdoorsy in the wet season, which I think might be my new favorite thing ever, because turns out when it rains, there are tons of mushrooms and fungus and just so many cool shapes and textures and colors, and I've really been enjoying just taking pictures of them and like uploading them to iNaturalist and figuring out what they are. It's like a really casual thing, but it really kind of speaks to my inner magpie collector, but in a way that, you know, it's free, gets me outdoors, and like I feel it really plays into the whole like cottagecore aesthetic that I've been into personally like the last year or two. And yeah, that's definitely something that I want to keep going for sure. And I think that's been reflected in a lot of my outfits. Like, one, just because I've been posting a lot of straight up hiking or walking outfits, and just generally more of a move towards very like practical, utilitarian, more like athleisure type things. I go through phases sometimes where I want to be a little bit like, you know, smarter looking, like a little bit dressier. But just, yeah, this month has just been all about being comfy and just being able to get outside and go without having to go through this whole song and dance of like changing an entire outfit, you know. It's been nice, it's been chill. And closer to the just purely aesthetic side of things, one thing that I found myself really interested in this month has been this sort of like candy color palette. So I'm talking more of like the pastel side of things. So lilac, lavender, turquoise, soft pinks, that sort of thing. Very like girly and youthful, and just things that I feel have gone really with that whole Y2K resurgence. So very much not the earth tones, not the traditional neutrals. And part of that has definitely been because my hair has been purple. I got this done in December, so this is a relatively new thing for me. So at least when it comes to myself, I've really felt that like, you know, hey, now purple is a neutral, and it's been really, I feel like, freeing when it comes to playing with makeup, especially because now since I have all of this like purple around my face, it feels a lot less jarring for me to have like shimmery blue or shimmery purples and pinks on eye makeup, especially compared to when I had just my natural dark brown, black sort of hair color. And this, I feel, is definitely more of a phase for me. Like, I'm not like so enamored with it where I'm like, oh, I'm so inspired, I'm gonna change my whole wardrobe to be this color. But yeah, I've just been trying to roll with that. And every time I've painted my nails, which I tend to do my toes more than my fingers just because then I don't have to redo it as much, just going for more of that sort of girly color. And I have found myself wearing more of my like pinks and lilacs when it comes to my base outfits, more than I have in previous months. And that's been a lot of fun. I feel like, especially since we're in the darker part of the year here, just having that little extra pop of brightness has really helped keep things cheery, especially when, you know, like when you're just at work and it's just like very blah, but then you can like, you know, catch a glimpse of that like in the mirror, just like, you know, it's fun. Okay, so that's what I've been into kind of at a higher level, or just in terms of overarching themes. But when it comes to what did I actually buy, I was pleasantly surprised when I was kind of looking back to see that more or less I would say that the purchases I made were aligned with both that kind of outdoors comfort, movement sort of focus, as well as just getting a little bit more happy in terms of colors. So the only sort of planned purchases that I made this month was overhauling my socks, which I'm not gonna lie, I already had a lot of socks to start with, but especially as I was getting back into hiking again and spent more time wearing my actual like wool blend hiking socks, I was just like, man, life is too short to have socks that are not really working for me. So I decided that I was going to basically just only either wear kind of outdoors hiking brand socks, or socks that were like long enough and 100% patterns and colors that I really like. And obviously that's not going to all fit into the sock drawer that I have currently, but I did find that Smartwool has a program where you can mail them your old socks and they will be recycled into not necessarily other garments, but I think it's stuff like insulation and things like that. So it's not just going to go to the landfill, which is something that I'm trying to avoid. And aside from that, I'm also going to try and give away the ones that I feel like are honestly still in really good condition, just on the local neighborhood group. And then hopefully after that, I will be set for, you know, the next couple of months, hopefully a few years, if especially the hiking socks end up lasting. So I'm not going to go through every single pair that I bought because a lot of them are actually in the laundry because I have been wearing them. But for the more hiking oriented socks, I've mostly purchased from REI, Smartwool, and Darn Tough, which I feel like are kind of just the brands to go to for this sort of thing. And I've been going specifically for their merino wool blend socks. And while I did get a few pairs of more thick, like hiking socks, I have tried to stick more to the lightweight hiking socks, or the ones that are advertised as kind of like a lifestyle blend, just because I want it to be something that works not just for like, you know, 10-mile hikes, but also just going to work. And I typically find myself wearing sneakers, so either just like your basic New Balance like dad sneakers, or Converse high tops, or my good old Doc Marten combat boots. So I've gone for the like longer, like crew length ones, and no boring socks here. Lots of prints, not necessarily all in bright colors, but yeah, just ones that I saw it like really made me light up and go like, oh, that's so cute. So there's that. And on the other end of things, just because when merino socks. I'm not gonna lie, these can get really pricey, especially if you're collecting them. But I did happen to see that Baggu now makes socks. And if you're not familiar with them, their whole aesthetic is definitely like really bright, kind of 70s, 80s influence, like almost psychedelic colors and patterns. And for me especially, like I'm not huge on prints for my like base outfit clothes, but for accessories and socks, like sign me up. So they have, I believe they're like nylon blend socks, and they're just sort of like your casual like sneaker socks, I'd say. Like they're not fancy enough to be like for dress outfits, and they're definitely not like sports socks. Like there's no like extra ribbing or cushioning in them. But again, that's not what they were advertised for. And I've worn these each a few times already, and overall I've been pretty happy with them. The colors have not run in the wash, and there's not been any holes. Like again, I've only worn them like 2 or 3 times each, so that would be pretty bad if that happened. But yeah, I think if they continue to hold up this way, I would definitely consider buying from them again. I will say, like, these are not, you know, magical. So for example, I guess it might be kind of hard to show, but like this is a pair that I've worn a few times with Converse high tops, and I do walk like usually a couple miles a day, even if it's not like a hiking day, since I commute to work via public transit. So they have started to pill a little bit, but not nearly as much as some of the cheaper socks I have encountered in my time. So if their patterns are really appealing to you, I would say that especially if you can get the discount from buying three pairs of socks, it's not a bad way to go. So I realize I just said that I'm not really into prints for base outfits, but now that I am looking at the stuff that I bought this month, maybe that's not the case anymore. But at any rate, sort of the other category of purchases I ended up making that was not as intentional as the whole like sock overhaul thing was committing more to jumpsuits, rompers, onesies, whatever you want to call those like one-piece sort of deals, for at-home outfits, because I am pretty big on having like separate home outfits from like office or just outdoors stuff. Partly for practicality, because, you know, if I'm sitting on the subway, that's not something I want to be lounging around in my bed in, but also just because it really helps me personally like kind of compartmentalize the different parts of my day. So what I ended up buying were 3 more jumpsuits. One of them I'm actually wearing. It's this more like utility jumpsuit sort of a deal, almost like overalls, but I usually think of overalls as specifically like denim or twill. And then 2 of these printed like cotton jersey sort of sleeveless jumpsuits. This one is more fitted, and this one is more kind of loosey-goosey, kind of a beach vibe. And yeah, they've just been really comfortable. I haven't worn them too much on like the Instagram feed sort of outfits, again, just because I've been throwing them on at home, putting a sweatshirt over them. Nothing too interesting, but yeah, I've been enjoying that way more than just doing random pair of leggings or random pair of old sweatpants, because it's just more comfortable not to have any sort of waistband. And again, like, you don't have to think as hard, which I'm all about, especially when it comes to loungewear. Anyway, so for the last item of clothing that I bought, this was definitely just me being really into clothes and not anything I actually needed, but I love a good vintage cardigan. And this is one that I felt was really unique because it had floral elbow patches. Like, how cool is that? And I'm not sure if somebody like shrank this in the wash at some point, but I am 5'1" and this is like properly cropped on me. And yeah, it's been fun. I've worn it like only once or twice so far since I've bought it, but I really like having a more like fitted option when it comes to my loud kind of grandma cardigans. And yeah, going into February, I'm not expecting too much change in terms of what I'm interested in, because again, the hiking thing is something I want to keep going for as long as possible. And again, like a month, 4 weeks, that's hardly any time, and I certainly don't feel like the attraction to like brighter, happier colors is going anywhere, at least for the time being. So I think I'll just keep enjoying my socks and my eyeshadows, but we'll see. And again, I am aware that this is a lot of in and not much out, but I have been collecting a couple of items. Well, a couple, it's probably like 20 to 30 pieces at this point, that I'm going to be listing on Poshmark and the neighborhood group, which I think we'll probably be going over next month because I haven't had time to actually like photograph and list everything yet. So maybe next month, if I'm still kind of on the same kicks with things that I'm into, we can go more into stuff that I haven't been feeling as much or just hasn't suited my lifestyle, and how that's kind of interacting with what I've been doing. And I hope that was, you know, interesting, chill, a little bit of a nice break for you. And yeah, let me know, like, what have you been into, and whether you feel like the stuff you've been wearing or the stuff you bought this month has like played into that, or whether you're having a hard time kind of reconciling what your like shopping lizard brain or your outfit lizard brain has been doing versus what you're really trying to go for. Because I think of all of the things like this year, just focusing rather than like curating myself towards a really specific style or aesthetic, or like getting down or up to a certain number of pieces for different categories of clothing, just making sure there's like a sense of alignment with everything, and that like everything I'm doing is kind of, you know, on the same track, same vibe. Yeah, so coming up, I will probably be doing a fun little kind of style breakdown, style analysis video, which I'm thinking will probably be more of just like a screen share voiceover sort of a deal, kind of like a Pinterest with me kind of a thing. So I'm looking forward to that. Let me know if there's any other particular types of videos you'd like me to do, especially if you know the type of things that I tend to talk about on Instagram or on the old-fashioned blog. But yeah, until next time, take care.